Welcome back to JNS Daily Drives, everyone. My name is Jacob, and today we're going to be talking about this Tesla Model S 70D. Now let's talk a little bit about Tesla in general. The Model S was first unveiled in 2009 as a concept, and then later put into production in 2011 for the 2012 model year, where we know the car today. This model here is a 2016, so it is a pre-facelift model, which means that it doesn't have the different front fascia. It actually has somewhat of a grille look to it, even though this car doesn't need a grille because it is all electric. We're going to walk around the exterior, talk a little bit about it, go for a drive, and talk about what's powering this 4,800 pound beast. So we start with the front of the Tesla Model S, which is a very controversial front end in the automotive industry. Because in the first generation of Tesla Model S's, it actually had this kind of grille looking piece here, which, it doesn't need a grille because it's all electric. It doesn't need to cool an engine. A lot of people were like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? I think they fixed that in 2017. I don't think it looks all that bad the way it sits right now. But they've definitely made amends for what they did, and 2017 is a great model year. What else do we have up here? We have some beautiful LED headlights, which just look fantastic when they're on. Some fog lights down below, a nice little air splitter down there. And as well, interestingly enough, there's nothing under here. This is a front trunk. There's a lot of room up here actually, and I'll show you that in just a second. But first, let's move to the side and talk a little bit about the design of the Model S. Now that we move to the side of the Tesla Model S, we're greeted by a very sleek design. Previous to Tesla's introduction of the Model S in 2009, the world had been kind of underwhelmed by the electric car scene. You had the Nissan Leaf. They didn't look good, but what Tesla did is they took an all-electric car, made it look good, and perform well. That's something that nobody else has done, and I think Tesla is absolutely killing the electric game right now. I mean, look at these body lines. Look at the way that the door handles fold in and you just press them to open up. It's just those little things that make this car so much better than every other electric car that has come before it. On this Model S 70D, we have the beautiful 19-inch wheels, which I think add a lot of character to the car. I think if it had anything less than 19s, I don't think it would look very good, but with 19s, it looks great. Now we move to the rear of the Tesla Model S, which is a sight that anybody can notice. This car has an incredible coefficient of drag. Right here will actually be the coefficient of drag number right here. Now in terms of what we have back here, let's go ahead and pop open the rear hatch, which is all powered, it's all electric, where we have a massive rear trunk. This thing folds back just like so. You have plenty of room back there. You can actually option a Model S with rear seats back here. That's how cool it is and how much space it has. Extra storage down here for additional equipment. Overall, quite a large trunk space. I'm not going to climb in because it does look pretty pristine back there, but I must say, there is a lot of space back there. Now, located right here will be the trunk space with the seats folded normally like so. And then right here will be with the seats folded down. As you can see, there is plenty of space back here to get anything that you might need. Now located on the other side of the Tesla Model S is the charging port. Underneath this side reflector here, simply flick a switch inside, this thing pops open, you're ready to charge your Tesla. So before we move on with the rest of this review, let's go ahead and take a quick look on the interior of the rear as well as the interior of the front to kind of get a sense of what it looks like in there. Electric door handles. Quite spacious, as you can see. So now let's go ahead and talk about what's powering this 4,800 pound beast. So that is a dual electric motors, one for performance and one for efficiency, making 330 horsepower and 390 pound-feet of torque. Can't really look at the engine, but instead let's take a look at the front trunk that I was talking about a little bit earlier. So if you've never seen a front trunk on a Tesla Model S, here it is. It's actually quite large. I'm pretty impressed by the size of the front and rear trunks. You know, being that there's no engine, there's way more room for storage because the batteries don't take up quite as much space. Obviously, you can see my hand. There is quite a large amount of space in here. You could definitely fit a mid-size piece of luggage, maybe even a foldable set of golf clubs. Now that we've kind of gone over the exterior a little bit, let's go to the back and get, oh wait. It's electric. Doesn't sound like anything. Let's go for a drive. Alright, so now that we're inside and we are driving the Tesla Model S 70D. Now, one of the biggest things about Teslas that a lot of people have to ask is range. Now, generally speaking, you're going to need about 400 kilometers of range with a fully charged battery on this car, which is pretty good in the city, I must say. And, you know, for a car that if you're just going to be using in the city and you're plugging home at night afterwards, it's really not that bad at all. Now, the second thing that everybody asks about Tesla is how fast they are. So let's do that. Oh. That was 100. Oh my god, that was insane. What? How crazy was that? Now that was 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds thanks to the 70 kilowatt battery. And one of the coolest things about the Tesla and any other electric car for that matter is the fact that all the torque is at 0 RPM, which means as soon as you hit that gas, it is instantaneous. That launch has no lag at all, no boost building, none of that crap. It's just instantaneous. It's absolutely insane how fast this thing takes off. And then I'm just going, you know, 65 kilometers an hour, all of a sudden, holy moly, that is absolutely insane. I've never felt instant acceleration like that ever in my life. That is incredible. So I digress. Let's talk a little bit about how the car feels to drive. And I was a little bit nervous when I first got in the car. You know, I talk about regenerative braking, we'll talk about that a little bit more. But it's actually really easy to drive. It's like every other car. You don't have to worry about gearing, any of that, because it only has a 1-speed transmission. It's so easy to drive. It's just put your foot on the gas to go, take it off to brake, and then when you get to where you need to stop, you put your foot all the way on the brake and it just completely stops you. It's really not intimidating at all. You know, that was the first time that I've floored the car, and unless you're really jerky with the gas pedal, then you'll have no problem. There's also another mode, if this camera will show it. So if I go here and then I go to driving, there's actually an acceleration chill mode. We'll actually bring down my acceleration if I were to accidentally, you know, go full throttle. That's a really cool thing to have, especially if you're letting somebody new drive your Tesla Model S, because they won't be so used to that instantaneous torque that this car has. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, in terms of how it drives super nice, super smooth. I've heard a lot of people say that they're incredibly smooth. You know, they're like an S-Class, and they are very smooth. The seats are comfortable. I mean, they're a little bit firm, but they hold you in really well. You don't really feel any of the bumps. This car, I don't think, has any of the adjustable suspension, but that's fine by me. I think it handles like a dream. It feels great when you're driving. Like, I don't feel any bumps. It's very well insulated in here. You hear very little road noise. All you kind of hear is a little battery whine, which I think sounds pretty cool. A little bit of the cool features that the Tesla have, and you know, I could make an entire video that is 20 minutes long just going over the features of this Tesla, but let's kind of highlight some of the really cool ones. Now, if we go into the gigantic screen here, we have all of these cool different things and all this. So I can open all of my the rear trunk, my charging port, my sunroof, I can slide that. You know, all my lights are right there. Unlock the car, stuff like that. Lighting, all that stuff as well. Driving is where it gets a little bit cooler. I have, like I said, I have standard acceleration. This car does not have any ludicrous or ludicrous plus modes, but it has instead chill and standard mode. Yeah, standard is very fast. So if you're frightened that you might accidentally floor your Tesla and you know, shoot everybody's heads back, go and chill. In terms of steering mode, we're actually going to come up on some corners right now. So let's see what it's like in sport mode, and then when we come back, we'll see what it's like in comfort mode as well to see the differences between the steering. I also have my regenerative braking on, which, you know, is a little weird at first, but I like it. It's very helpful. So keep in mind that this is a 4,800 pound SUV. Now keep in mind that this is a 4,800 pound family sedan. It should not be able to corner like this and then have the acceleration like that out of it. That is absolutely insane. For something that weighs this much, I can't even imagine how fast the P100D is. Tesla, if you're watching this, hook me up with a P100D. I'd like to test that. So now we're going back down that same road with the steering mode in comfort mode. We'll see if that makes a big difference. Wow, the steering is light. Oh my goodness. It's crazy how much firmer the steering is in sport mode. When I'm in comfort mode, it just kind of, it's like a feather. It's like I'm turning a feather. That's how light this steering is. Like I'm putting, like, turn it with my thumb. There's like no effort needs to go into this, but as soon as I go into sport mode, it tightens up. It's a lot more responsive. Oh, it feels so good. This is fantastic. So let's talk about that drivetrain a little bit more, shall we? So this car is dual motored, hence the designation on the back, 70D, dual motor. Now one of those motors is designed for performance. As you can see, it accelerates from 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds. And one is for range and battery life, and we've been driving this car pretty well now for the last hour and a half, and we've only used about 70 kilometers of range, which is basically right on par with what we've driven. It's pretty impressive considering, we've been on and off the gas quite a bit, braking, all that good stuff, and yet it still has quite a bit of range, and that is because of the regenerative braking. So what that means is when I let off of the gas pedal, instead of going to apply the brake, the car regenerates its braking through the electric motors, in turn charging them. So if I let off now, it's like I'm braking. If you look at the speedometer there, when I do it again, 60, my foot is not on the brake, but you can see on the little thing on the right side, it actually goes negative kilowatts, meaning that it's regenerating all of that energy that I lost and actually charging the batteries. It's extremely useful because it means that you don't really need to use the brakes, number one, and number two, you're kind of constantly charging your Tesla as you drive it, which is an awesome feature to have instead of worrying about how far you're going to be able to drive and getting range anxiety. Now let's go over the space on the inside of the cabin of the Tesla Model S. I'm about 6'2", and I have plenty of room up here actually. There's nothing in here for a transmission, so you have so much storage down here. I can reach my arm all the way down there. It's kind of cool. But yeah, in terms of space, I don't feel cramped at all. I love the seats. I've still got a bunch of headroom because of the sunroof, and it just feels good in here. I can move my seat all the way back. Even the rear passengers have quite a bit of space. If you look back there, they've got pretty good seating back there, and like I said, you can option this car to have an extra 2 seats if you do so choose. Forward collision warning, as well as automatic emergency braking, lane departure warning, obstacle aware acceleration. This is pretty standard stuff that you get on a lot of other cars like the Kia and Hyundais that I've tested, but this car takes it to a whole nother level with Autopilot. Now we'll have to go, somewhere over there. We'll set up Autopilot and we'll show you how it works. Alright, so to engage auto steer, as it's called, you simply get up to speed and pull this back twice in succession. Oh my god, it's steering for me. Wow, that, oh my god. That might be even more incredible than the acceleration of this car. That thing just steered me around those corners that I took earlier. That is insane. review, I have to say a massive thank you to Norm and the rest of the International MOTORCARS team. They have an incredibly welcoming staff, and they have by far one of the best showrooms in Western Canada, with the likes of, you know, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Porsches, and even this Tesla and 2 other Tesla Model X's in their inventory. They're also the #1 Nissan GTR and #1 Mitsubishi Evo dealership in all of Alberta. How cool is that? So special shout out to you guys. They make all of this stuff happen. Link below will be their website, along with the link to this exact Tesla Model S, which is for sale right now. Go check them out. Well, everyone, that is the end of this review on this Tesla Model S. I've absolutely loved driving this car. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so you can see all of the new content that I'm going to be creating over the next couple months. It's going to be awesome. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you next time.
You were always taking time.